The black box model is a metaphoric visualization of all aspects of artful delegation. It can serve as a manual for the seemingly paradox act of leading self-organization. The black box in our model is not the voice recorder of an airplane. Even though they are both boxes, you are not allowed to open. The black box in our model is the general image of an intransparent container as a metaphor for a process you cannot observe. The term is widely used in science for any systems which can be viewed in terms of its inputs and outputs without any knowledge of its internal workings. Following the general concept of self-organization, we can state that every time you assign a task to a group of people, you are creating a black box of not knowing how the task is being completed. Self-organization in this context is the ability of any constellation of people to organize themselves, to create helpful patterns and rules that allow them to reach their shared goal. So for you as a leader, it is a powerful tool to get best results with a minimum of time invested. The opposite of leading self-organization would be some kind of micromanagement where you assign and monitor tiny pieces of a greater task to individual people with a risk of getting results that do not fit together. So creating a black box is rather easy, but needs well-developed skills of self-discipline to use successfully. If you ask a team to do work for you, they disappear in a black box, which you can define in its size. Looking from the upper left corner, we could define the length of the box as the time available for the task, while the width of the box represents the available resources. Resources in this regard are things like equipment, budget, and skills, which are available to the team along the agreed time. The fact that there are human beings in this black box gives us the opportunity to also look at it another way. Why not translate the box into a room in an office building? Using this interpretation allows us to tell a story of delegation along the floor plan of that room. You meet your team at the door on the left, and of course the first thing you do is tell them what the assignment is. You should describe them the purpose of that thing that you want from them, what you will do with the result of their work. Describe it in as much detail as possible and answer questions from the team patiently. As soon as the door closes, self-organization starts to take over in that room because you are outside and unable to look in. The black box is activated. When the agreed time is over, you can expect a delivery of what you asked the team to do. You can evaluate their work, like or criticize it, or even reject it. But in most cases, you will be just surprised about an amazing quality or even a totally unexpected and smart solution. But what was happening in that black box? If you are used to a rather technical worldview, you might think that the process in that box looks like this, that the task was completed straight from start to finish. But as human beings are not machines, they create complexity. So the process would more likely look like this. Even though self-organization is very efficient, it needs and will create elements of chaos or at least turbulences. And that is what makes it so difficult, because these turbulences will make you nervous. Maybe it would be best to not just leave the room, but leave the building. As time passes for you, or to stay in the picture, you walk along that room. You will sense the turbulences that are happening inside the box. You will hear noises and voices through those thin plasterboard walls that most office buildings have. No matter if it sounds more like fighting or like laughter, either sound will make you nervous. And that will make you weak for the temptation to go and check how they are doing. And as you are walking along that office corridor, you suddenly see this side door to the room. Following your instinct, you open that door just enough to put your head in, and as everyone is suddenly looking, you innocently ask something like, "Hey guys, how are you doing?" And boom, you have destroyed the self-organization of that team. They will be happy you came. They will invite you in. They will tell you about their struggles. They will ask you about your opinion. They will turn your opinion into command and stop thinking for themselves and quit to jointly struggle for the best solution. But even if you do not open the door, the temptation might challenge you even harder when someone opens the door from inside, sees you on the corridor and innocently asks, "Could you come in for a minute? We just want to ask you about your opinion on something." Don't do it. Find a good way to say no without appearing as rude or unhelpful. Now, you might say that delegating like this is dangerous. What if you do not get what you wanted? Here are some thoughts about risk reduction. First of all, the model needs practice from both parties, you and your team. So start small and not with the most crucial part of work. If you feel you cannot risk it to leave the team alone without checking, then the box is probably too long. Break the task into 2 big chunks and agree on a deliverable that you want to get after half the time. If breaking the task up into parts is not possible, you can make an exception to the side door rule. Agree with the team on a side door visit and define exactly when this will happen and for how long. This is like defining yourself as an additional temporary resource. From my experience, the black box model is the single most complete picture of what leadership is all about, but only if you use it in an experimental and playful way. I'm inviting you to start playing around with it. If you do, you can discover how universal the model is. For example, you can produce several black boxes in parallel. You can delegate a very big task in boxes in a row. You can also lead leaders in that way. You can ask your boss to use the model for the work delegated to you. You can even use the black box as an organizational structure. So this concludes my introduction of the black box model. Thanks for watching.